This is going to be a review for the sequences test that's coming up in class. It's 28 questions long. You do not have a time limit. You will have the entire class period to take it, and you can take it as many times as you need in order to pass the class. Let's begin the review. First type of question, the first three terms of a geometric sequence are as follows: 400, 200, 100. Find the next two terms. In order to find the next two terms, we need to find the common ratio. What's happening with each one of those numbers? To do that, just divide backwards. What's 200 divided by 400? And we see that it is 0.5. Okay, and we want to make sure it's the same. 100 divided by 200, also 0.5, and you can just do that on your calculator. So what would the next term be? Well, what's 100 times 0.5? That would be 50. And then 50 times 0.5 would be 25. You see, all you have to do is just multiply each number times the ratio times 0.5. And you can do that on your calculator, and that is how you get that answer for that first type of question. This one, we're asked to find the 66th term of the following arithmetic sequence. With that, you need to go back to that sequence formulas, and we're going to find the explicit formula. The explicit formula is also the nth term formula, and we're trying to find a certain term. So we're going to review that really quick. It's a sub n equals a sub 1 plus d times n minus 1. The parts of that we're going to change are right here. We know that's the first term. And this is the common difference. Okay, and that's great. Now let's plug in what we can. We have a sub n equals a sub 1. The first term is right there, 13. Now what's our difference? It's going up by 6 each time. Plus 6, plus 6, plus 6. So plus 6 times. And now this part right here, we need, oh, and if you don't know if it's plus 6, just take the second one minus the first one for arithmetic. Remember, arithmetic is plus or minus. So 19 minus 3, 25 minus 19, any of those. And what term are we trying to find? We're trying to find the 66th term. And we're left with an equation we can just type into the calculator. And we have 13 plus 6 parentheses 66 minus 1 parentheses, and that gives us our 66th term is 403. So right here we just put in the 403 and move on. Write a recursive formula for the following arithmetic sequence. So we see right here it's arithmetic. And the recursive formula for arithmetic sequences can be found on that sequence formulas paper that you were given. Is a sub 1 equals the first term and a sub n equals a sub n minus 1 plus d. And we look at this and we say, okay, what is the a sub n minus 1? That is just the last number. Okay, so we don't have to change that. In fact, just to avoid the confusion just really quick, I'm going to put the box around only the parts we have to change. We're going to change this one and this one. Everything else we're going to leave exactly the same. So with that in mind, what's our a sub 1? What's our first term? Our first term is 8. So we're going to just type 8 right there. Now to the next one. We're on a sub n. A sub n equals, and what do we have here? We have equals a n minus 1. So we're just going to type that exactly as we see it. A sub n minus 1, and then hit the right arrow to just get back up to the normal text, and here we want the plus the difference. Well, what's the difference? Minus 5, minus 5, minus 5, we're just minus 5. And that's all you have to do on that type of question. Okay, the next one. The study is done. It shows population and all that stuff. You know, I mean, that's net fancy little thing. But we look at the equation and we say, oh, that looks like a geometric sequence. And in fact, it is. So we look right here. What is this number? That's our a sub 1. Okay. And then this number is our ratio, or our percent of change. Okay, so what's our initial population size? That's that first number. Is it growing or going down? To understand that, we look at it and we say, okay, this number is between 0 and 1. And the thing to remember is if the ratio is greater than 1, then it is increasing or growing. If the ratio is between 0 and 1, or a decimal or a fraction, then it's decaying. It's going down. So we see here it's below 0 or below 1, so it's a decay. By what percent? In order to find that, just find the difference between that number and 1. So 0.91 is 0.09 away from 1, and you can just do 1 minus that number. Now move the decimal 2 times, and you have 9%. So it's decaying at a rate of 9%. Okay, the question type for number 5. Write a recursive formula for each sequence. Okay, first we got to find out if it's arithmetic or geometric. We're not sure, so to do that, let's just see. This one looks like it's staying constant. What's 3 minus 9? If we did that on the calculator or in our head, we'll see it's negative 6. And is that right? Minus 6, minus 6, minus 6. It is right. So we see that is a arithmetic, and the difference is negative 6. So now we have enough to do that entire formula. A sub 1 is, and what's our first term? Our first term is 9. And then with arithmetic, it's always going to just start with a n minus 1, just like it's on that sheet that you were given, the sequence formulas. Now, here's where we put the common difference. Common difference is minus 6. Okay, and that's how you do that first part. So let's look at this one. Well, we know what a sub 1 is without doing any math at all. That's just that first number, 10. So what's happening with this one? If we find the difference, it's plus 20, but it's not continuing, so it's not arithmetic. So let's find the common ratio. Times 3, and then times 3, then times 3, times 3, times 3, times 3. So we see this is in fact geometric, and if we look at our sequence formulas, the recursive formula for geometric is a sub 1 equals, and then this is the first term, and that's the same for all of them. Then we have a sub n equals the ratio times the a sub n minus 1. For a minute I thought I was on the wrong one. I'm not. The parts we need to change are just this part and this part. Everything else stays exactly the same. So we've already done the 10. Now we're going to do the ratio, which is 3, and then parentheses, a. Here we can't do parentheses. For some reason it won't let us, and that's fine. Another way of saying parentheses is just times, because remember it's geometric, so we're multiplying. And then we have a with the little sub n minus 1. Okay, so that's okay if you can't do parentheses, just do the times. Ignore this n is greater than 2. That just means for the second term and on. Okay, let's move on to number 6. The first 3 terms are given. Here they are right now. Find the next 2. Well, what's happening? We know it's geometric, so we're going to divide. We take this number divided by the first number. So negative 40 divided by 10 is negative 4. And does that make sense? Let's do it again. 160 divided by negative 40 is negative 4. So the ratio is negative 4. Well, that's easy enough. Now we just take the last known number and multiply it by the ratio. What's 160 times negative 4? And we see that is negative 640. Okay, and then we do it one more time, times negative 4, and that is 2560. Okay, number 7. The first 3 terms of the arithmetic sequence are as follows. So now we know it's arithmetic, which means it's got a common difference. Okay, so what are we doing to get from here to here? Well, that's just minus 4. And from here to here, also minus 4. So the common difference is minus 4. Well, what's negative 3 minus 4? Negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. And so that's what we're going to put in the next box, is just negative 7. What's negative 7 minus 4? It's negative 11. So with the arithmetic sequence, you just keep the common difference going. Just keep minus 4, minus 4, minus 4, minus 4, and so on. Number 8. A principal of 4,300 is invested at 5% interest. So we see here this is going to be an interest, a compound interest. Okay, so our compound interest looks like this. Y equals the principal times 1 plus or minus if it's going to go down, and then we put the percent up there and the number of times it's compounded with that same number there times the number of years. And this is in that paper I gave you. So let's plug in what we can. We have 4,300 is our principal, and it's an investment, so that means it's going to grow. 1 plus, and what's our percent? Our percent is 5%, so 0.05. Don't forget to change that into a decimal. Compounded annually, so every 1 year, or once every year, so 1 times for 6 years. And now we can just bring up the calculator and punch all that in. 4,300 times 1 plus 0.05 divided by 1, parentheses, all raised to the 1 times 6 power. And we see our answer is 5, 7, 6, 2, 4, 1, and then that third one tells us we're going to just keep it at 1, round down, so 0.41. And that's our answer. 5762.41. And here, I didn't see that. Round your answer to the nearest whole dollar. So in that case, we're going to say, oh, maybe we should have read the instructions. So that 0.4 just means we're going to round down. Graph the exponential function. Okay, in order to graph an exponential function like that, we have to do our t-chart. And it wants us to plot the values right there. So we have -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And we need to figure out what it is. So in order to do that, we just plug it in. This is x and this is y. So we take that x and plug it in right there. And with our calculator, and that's all we need to do is just with our calculator, is just say, all right, we have 5/2 parentheses 2 parentheses raised to the -2. Okay, and we see that's 0.625. And there's another way to do this. I mean, we can do that changing this -2 every single time to -1, 0, 1, 2. Or if you remember, you can hit y equals and then enter the equation. So I'm going to do this one with a fraction inside the parentheses just to make sure it's right. It's always best to put fractions inside parentheses. Times 2 raised to the x power. And now we can say second graph, and there's our table. So our -2 is 0.625. Our -1 is 1.25. Our 0 is 2.5. Our 1 is 5, and our 2 is 10. Okay, good. Now we have that. And we can just plot the points. And here you can always, put the points in individually. I would click that one right there and type it in. So we have 0.625. What is that? We didn't have to round it, so we're okay. So we've got -2 and 0.625. And then we just click plot point. There's that first point. And then I'm going to plot another point, and I got -1. And then 1.25. Plot the point. And then I'm going to plot another point. And I'm going to do this with every single point. 2.5, plot the point, and 1,5. See, I'm just entering in each point. That's what this one here is for, is to just enter in the points. So 2 and 10, plot point, and then I'm going to draw a line, and then that's how you do that. Okay, so this one right here, this button shows you to plot the points, and this button draws the line between the points. Okay, next question is going to be like this. Find the first 4 terms of a sequence given by the following. It gives you a whole bunch of stuff, but we see right here it's plus. See that plus right there? That tells me it's arithmetic. Arithmetic simply means that we're going to be adding or subtracting each term. Well, here we're adding. So what's our first number? Our first number is always this part right here. So our first number is 49. And then what do we need to do? Plus 7. What's 49 plus 7? It's 56. And then 56 plus 7. And you just keep doing that every single time. Is 63. And then 70, and there's your terms. So it gives you all this extra junk right out there. You don't need to worry about that. I mean, you can definitely plug it in every single time and just take that 1, plug it in, take that 2, plug it in, and so on, and get each number. But if you know it's arithmetic, you know this is the common difference, and that's the first term. And you can just line them up. Okay, number 11 might look pretty much like this. We're depositing $4,000 into an account, and it's compounded. So we see we're dealing with compound interest again. Again, refer to that sheet for the formulas, and we remember, hey, it's going to be y equals 4,000, and then there's going to be parentheses with a 1 plus here because we're depositing, so we're hoping it's going to go up. And then we have a fraction, and up here is the percent. It's 3.2, move the decimal twice, and we have 0, 0. Oh, excuse me, that's a 3. So 0.032. Okay, let me do that again really quick. I just moved it 1, 2, and that left one open spot right there, 0.032. And now we're saying how many times is it compounded? It's compounded semi-annually, so that's 2 and 2 times, if no withdrawals are made, how much is it after 5 years? So it's times 5. And when we enter it all into the calculator, we have 4,000 parentheses 1 plus 0.032 divided by 2 parentheses raised to the 2.5 power, and we get 4161.92511, and we want to round our answer to the nearest cent. So that means this number tells us we're going to round up, and that gives us the amount of 4161.93, because that 5 means we're rounding that 2 up. Number 12, write a recursive formula for the arithmetic sequence. We did this just a short time ago. Our first term is right here. That's a sub 1. Okay, and what is it's arithmetic, so we're looking for a common difference. It's plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, so we see the difference is plus 4. We can fill in the blanks now. So we have negative 14, and if we look at the sequence formula, we can see it's always going to be a sub n minus 1, and then arrow over to get up out of that, and then it says plus d. So what's our d? It's plus 4. So that's how you fill in that one. Okay, number 13. Again, we have another interest problem here. Suppose that $2,000 is loaned, so we have $2,000. It's loaned at a rate of 12.5%. So 1 plus 12.5. Remember, we just moved the decimal 2 times. Okay, compounded semi-annually. We put the 2 up there, assuming no payments are made. How much is owed after 7 years? So times 7. And we type all that into the calculator. And so we get 2,000 times 1 plus 0.125 divided by 2 in parentheses raised to the 2 times 7, and we see our answer. And that, because it's compound, that's the end amount. So 4, 6, 7, 3 point, and that 3 we're rounding to the nearest cent, so that 3 tells us we're just going to round down or keep that at 4.2. So 4.2. And we can enter that for 673.42, and that's how you do that type of problem. Number 14. Decide whether or not it's arithmetic or geometric, and then type in the formula for the nth formula, or the nth term. Here we can see it's plus 5, plus 5, plus 5. That tells us it's arithmetic. Times 2, times 2, and that's geometric. So my difference is 5, and my ratio is 2. So now we're going to do the nth term. Now the nth term is the explicit formula. Okay, so when you're looking for the nth term is the same thing as the explicit formula. Okay, so what can we do with the explicit formula? If we look at the arithmetic sequence, it's a sub n equals a sub 1 plus d. What's our a sub 1? It's 4 plus d. What is d? d is 5. And then we just have the parentheses n minus 1. And we just type it just like we see it. Unless, because we're finding the nth term. Now here, geometric looks slightly different, but it's still pretty much the same. A sub 1 or a sub n equals a sub 1, which is 5, and then parentheses r raised to the n minus 1 parentheses. Okay, and that n minus 1 can also be outside the parentheses. It doesn't have to be inside the parentheses. So if you feel better about doing it outside the parentheses, that's perfectly fine. So that would be 2 n minus 1. And I had r there before. I'm sorry. You can actually plug in what r is. R is 2. Okay? For each sequence, determine whether it appears to be arithmetic, geometric, or neither. If we remember, arithmetic is plus or minus, and geometric is times or divide. Okay, neither means it doesn't follow a pattern. So let's look at this. Plus 6, plus 6, plus 6. It keeps going up by 6, so we see that's arithmetic. Minus, a lot, 3,000 change, so it's not arithmetic. But if we look, times 0.1, times 0.1, times 0.1, we see that's geometric. Now if you ever wonder, just take the second number divided by the first number. Okay, second divided by first, and then see if it keeps going. Take the third divided by the second, and then the fourth divided by the third. And if you keep doing that, you'll see it's always 0.1. Okay, here minus 20, then minus 4, that doesn't work. And then times or divided by 5, it works twice, but then right here it doesn't work again. So remember, you have to go 3 terms to make sure it works. Okay, so yeah, make sure you go all 3 numbers. And how did I get that? If you're confused, take 5 divided by 25, and you'll see the answer is 0.2. Now take 1 divided by 5, and you'll see the answer is 0.2 again. And most people give up there and say that's what it is. But now take 5 divided by 1, and you'll see it's 5. It is not 0.2. So that's how I got that answer. Number 16. For each sequence, determine whether it's geometric or not. Okay? Geometric just means times or divide. So times 5, times 5, times 5, it is geometric. What is the ratio? It's times 5. Okay? Now here, how do we get from 16 to 32? Or excuse me, 32 to 16? Divide backwards. 16 divided by 32 is 0.5. And then 8 divided by 16 is 0.5. 4 divided by 16 is 0.5. So we see what our ratio is. Our ratio is, and remember, ratios always need to be a fraction. Oh, I got to click this first. It is geometric. The ratio needs to be a fraction. It's 1/2, or 1/2, 0.5. Okay? -5, -5, -5, that's arithmetic, not geometric. Number 17 is going to look like this, and we've done one of these not long ago. We look at this first number. This is the initial value, so right there. This is greater than 1, so if you remember, when r is greater than 1, then it's increasing, or growth. Okay, and by how much? You just find the difference between this number and 1, so it's 1%. It's 0.01. Move the decimal twice, and you get 1%. So that's how we'd enter it. We'd say, okay, the initial value is 295,300. It's growing because it's greater than 1. How fast is it growing? It's growing by 1%. Number 18 is another compound interest question. Okay, you have your initial amount, 8,000, parentheses, 1 plus 0.075, move the decimal twice, right? 1, 2, and that gives you a 0 there, over the number, how often it's compounded. It's compounded semi-annually, so 2 times, and we copy that number right there, times the number of years, 5 years. And you can find all of this on that paper I handed out, the notes that you can use on your test. If you've lost it, you can get a new sheet long before you take the test. So here we take 8,000 times 1 plus 0.075 divided by 2, parentheses, and all of that is raised to the 2 times 5 power, enter, and we see we got to round to the nearest cent right here. So we take our total, 11560.35, and that's what goes in here, 11560.35. Now I just need to make sure I didn't pay attention to my rounding. Yeah, that's a 1, so we're rounding down, so I got it right. Next type of question, number 19, is going to be a geometric sequence. Okay, what's the 11th term? Well, to find the nth term, we want to use the equation a sub n equals a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1 power, and it can be in or out of the parentheses. It doesn't matter, whichever one. So let's plug in what we know. We're going to plug in for here, and then again for right here. We have a sub n equals, what's a sub 1? That's 3, the first number. So 3, parentheses, what's the ratio? What's 12 divided by 3? That's 4. 48 divided by 12 is 4, so we see our ratio is 4. And what term are we trying to find? We're trying to find the 11th term, so that goes right there. So 11 minus 1. And we type all that just into the calculator as we see it, and I'll put the calculator up so you can see what I mean. We have 3, parentheses, 4, parentheses, and we want to raise that to the 11 minus 1, enter. And so the 11th term of that sequence is going to be, I'll write it down because it's a little too big for me to memorize. We have 3, 1, 4, 5, 7, 2, 8. 3, 1, 4, 5, 7, 2, 8. Okay, number 20. This type of question is going to be an arithmetic sequence. Write the explicit formula for it. Well, the arithmetic sequence, again, you can use the sequence formula, says that we are taking a sub n equals a sub 1 parentheses, plus, arithmetic, not geometric, plus d n minus 1. Okay, so we want the nth term, so that means that n is going to stay exactly the way we see it. What is a sub 1? That's our first term, so we see that's 25. And then what's our common difference? We're going down by 6, so minus 6, not plus, because we're going down. And then that n stays the same, and we just type it just like that. And that's the answer. Next one, suppose that a sequence is defined. Now, it's not saying arithmetic or geometric, it's just saying a sequence right there. I crossed it off by mistake, but it's a sequence. This part confuses a lot of people. First, we want to start with the first term. The first term is -4. Okay, now the part we need to try to remember is this one right here, that a sub n minus 1. That just means the last known number. Okay, the last number in the list. So what's my last number? It's -4. So I take -2 times -4 on the calculator. I mean -2 times -4 plus 5 is 13. So my next number is going to be 13. Okay, now what's the last known number? And just treat this like a big X, like a variable or something like that. So now what's my last known number? Last known number is 13. So I do -2 times 13 plus 5. So -2 times 13 plus 5, and we get -21. Okay, now the -21 is my last number. So -2 times -21 plus 5, and we see that one is 47. And that's how you do that type of problem. Number 22. Is it arithmetic, geometric, or neither? Here we're doing -5, -5, -5. If it's plus or minus, it's arithmetic. If it's multiplication, it's geometric. This definitely doesn't look like plus or minus, so let's make sure that the other one works. Take the second number divided by the first number. So 400 divided by 1600, and we see the answer is 0.25. Now do the next one. 100 divided by 400. 0.25. One more. 25 divided by 100 is 0.25. So we see a common ratio. The division keeps giving us the same answer. Okay, now here, plus 5, and that's more than plus 5. So it's not arithmetic. Let's check, see if it's geometric. 64 divided by 49, second number divided by the first one is 1.306 and change. So now we take 81 divided by 64, and it is not the same number. So it is neither arithmetic or geometric. 23. Find the 20th term. Okay, now this one, it's giving us slightly different things here. It's actually giving us the parts that we fill in. The arithmetic sequence, we want to use the explicit formula because we're trying to find a certain term. So a sub 1 or a sub n equals a sub 1 plus d n minus 1. There's the formula. And look, we're given d and we're given a sub 1. So we just plug it in. A sub n equals 1 plus 3. So our d goes in, our a sub 1 goes in, times, and this number always represents the term we're trying to find. So 20 minus 1. And we just type all that into the calculator. 1 plus 3 parentheses 20 minus 1 parentheses, and we get 58. So that's what goes in right there. Type of question you'll get on that is another, is it arithmetic? Is it not arithmetic? And if it is, what's the common difference? So let's look at this. Plus 8 plus 40. It is not arithmetic. Remember, arithmetic is just plus or minus. So plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. It is arithmetic. And the difference is plus 6. Okay, this one. Minus 4 minus 4 minus 4, it is arithmetic with a difference of minus 4. (25) Find the first 4 terms. Okay, now we see right away that we're looking at multiplication. 3 times 4. Now we've got all of these that we can plug in right there one at a time and do the work. However, I don't think we need those. I don't think it's necessary. And I don't think we need this. I don't think it's necessary. What is our first number? Our first number is always that first one right there. So that would be 3. And then what's our common ratio? The common ratio is inside the parentheses, so it's times 4. What's 3 times 4? Is 12. Now again, times 4. What's 12 times 4? It's 48. And again, what's 48 times 4? And that's 192. If we know the common ratio, we just keep doing it. Times 4, times 4, times 4, and so on. Number 26, another graphing. And that's fine. We do our t-chart. Here's our t-chart. We have x and we have y. -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. And I'm just going to plug it into my calculator and let it do the work. So I'm going to go y equals, clear anything that's there, and I see 4 raised to the x power, so 4 raised to the x power, second table. And it does all the work for me, so my -2 is 0.0625. Don't round it if you can help it. If it's a big long number, just do the fraction. So then 0.25, and then 1, and then 4, and 16. Okay, so now we have all our points. We can just use this point plotter, or whatever you want to call it. -2, and then that is 0.0625, plot point. And the next one is -1. Oops, yeah, click on it first. -1 and 0.25, plot point. And then the next one is 0, 1, plot point. And the next one is 1 and 4, plot points. So you see I'm just plotting the points all along. And then the next one is 2 and 16, plot point. And then click this button right here to just draw the line. And that's how you graph those. 2 more. Number 27 will look like this. An arithmetic sequence is given. Write the explicit formula. Well, the explicit formula is a sub 1 plus d times n minus 1. Use your sheet. That's why I gave it to you, so you didn't have to memorize it. And what is a sub 1? A sub 1 is that first term right there, so it's 13. What's my difference? It's plus 7. Plus 7, plus 7, so it just keeps going up by 7, so plus 7. Which term am I trying to find? I'm trying to find the nth term, so that just goes n minus 1, parentheses, and you're done. Now the last question looks like this. Find the first three terms of this arithmetic, or the first three terms are given. Find the next two terms. So what's happening here? It's going down by, what is that, 7? Down by 7. So the next term will be down by 7 again. So it'd be 11, or 10, and then 3. That's how you do this test. Hopefully this is helpful to you throughout the test. If you have any problems or questions or concerns, please come up and ask. Don't fail the test just because you're too embarrassed. You can retake this test as many times as you want, and good luck.